part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome, everyone, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I am your host, Damon Royster, and today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Yes, what Batman 1989? Is that what he's talking about? Yes, we have pivoted. We are going into Batman. Marvel's not great right now, and also there's really nothing to talk about. So I wanted to go back to basics, to the start of the superhero movie franchise. Yes, I'm aware that there were Superman movies, but that's its own thing. I think this is truly the blueprint for which all superhero movies have built themselves off of. So buckle up, y'all, because we're putting on our capes, putting on our cowls, heading to the Batcave, hopping the Batmobile. Bat. We are talking about Batman 1989, aka the one that started it all. Joining me today are two excellent guests that have confirmed several times they didn't plan to wear matching outfits. I don't believe them, but they did plan it. But we'll get to them in a second. I want to talk about my thoughts about this movie. This movie, classic film, directed by Tim Burton. And I'll say this, it does not bother me like Tim Burton movies normally do. I think it's great. I think Vicky Vale is there. Perfect attendance for Vicky Vale. She is definitely in this movie. Uh, I adore Michael Keaton as a Batman. I think he does a good job toggling that Bruce Wayne Batman line, except for two major inconsistencies. I think it's a fine film. Is it two? Yeah, it's two. Two things this movie got wrong so hard, but I do like it. Shout out to Prince. I love the Prince soundtrack. I love that. I love the idea of an artist just doing the music for it. You know, like when Beyonce did the Lion King soundtrack. That's really fun. And I think the colors are great. I feel like as a kid from the 90s, I feel like purple and black and yellow were just seen everywhere for the first part of that decade.
And sorry to interrupt, Damon. Just to add, I feel like if there was ever a soundtrack for Prince to do a visual album, I think it would be this album, truly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I would have loved for him to do like a little mini movie based off of this movie.
Ooh, like Purple Rain.
Yeah.
but
Batman for soundtrack. Batman, yes.
Yeah. It's probably the purple of it all, I think. Probably drew him. And yeah, and we're gonna talk about it. And if you're listening, yes, we're gonna do all the Batman movies. I think we're gonna skip Lego Batman, but other than that, all the Batman movies. And most of the Justice League movies. I'm not touching that. All right. Let me intro my guests. Let me intro our returning guests first. This first guest heard talking about Blade and I want to say Hawkeye, the TV show.
I did, yes, the holiday series. Yes.
Back for the third time. Everyone's favorite guest. Promised that he's seen the movie this time, so we won't talk about that time Blade threw Karen off the roof.
Where she threw across the roof in Blade. That was wild, though. And I thought that needed to be talked about a lot. He chucked her across the building. That's not a hero.
That's not a hero, but that is the first 10 minutes of Blade. Please welcome to your ears, writer, actor, and currently on the Second City main stage, Jordan Stafford. Ooh.
Hey.
Jordan, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. Excited to be back. Yeah.
You like the bats?
I do enjoy Batman. My favorite superhero is Spider-Man, but I do enjoy Batman. It's just he's such it's just an interesting character in general. He knows everybody's weakness.
Mm-hmm.
He made that his business. He said, "I'm going to know everybody's weakness."
Mm-hmm. He finds it out. And joining us, first time on the pod, heard through the grapevine, and again, is it grapevine or grapevine?
Great.
Like the fruit. Great. Okay. I don't like it, but heard through the grapevine. This person is a fan of Batman. You've already heard their thoughts. Here they are with more. They are writer, actor, and also currently on the Second City main stage. Cast members, please welcome to your ears, Adonis Holmes.
Thank you so much for having me. Damn, yes. I love Batman. I have a toxic obsession with Batman. I'm one of those like Facebook Batman fans who's like Batman versus Goku. If you give him a week, he will beat Goku. I'll die on that hill. I will absolutely die on that hill. Truly.
Coming in here was is that that's Dragon Ball Z,
Yes.
correct? Yes.
Yes. So,
Okay.
yes. Dragon Ball Z.
Okay. I mean, I'll take your word for it. I believe Goku. That's like that's a tough guy. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a tough one.
Producer Michael's laughing at me. Damn it. Okay. Uh, well, thank you for being here, Adonis. I feel like I met you in an improv class, and I just had that sense like we're gonna podcast someday in the future.
Yes. And I've seen you perform a bunch, and you're absolutely hilarious. If
Good
we're
man,
doing
Jordan.
that here, I know we're talking about Batman, but if we can talk about Damon Royster for a second.
Adonis, you can always talk about me. Jordan knows.
Mhm.
So I mean, so Adonis, fan of Batman, talk to me about your Batman origin story. Like how, why, what about him keeps bringing you back?
The series that I fell into when I was younger was Frank Miller's Batman Returns. And so it was a graphic novel that I got for maybe like my 10th or 11th birthday, and I've just fell in ever since. And this was like Batman at his most like disheveled, decrepit. People were not, can we curse on this? Should we not
Yes,
curse?
we
People were
you have
not
to.
fucking with Batman at all in this
Yeah.
point of the series. Like Frank Miller does a great job of really breaking characters, and he was truly at his breaking point, but he was still about that action. Truly,
Yeah.
I love a character that's about that action. He will investigate because he's a great detective, but he's about hands first. He's always on high alert, which is why I appreciate Batman.
Oh yeah. It's interesting to watch this one because I'm so used to the Christopher Nolan Batmans where there's the whole like I would say slog of a debate about whether to kill someone or not. And this Batman, he's just strapping bombs on people and
Yeah,
they're just
he's
blowing up.
going
Like,
great. Tim Burton, like
yeah,
Tim
bye.
Burton, he took some liberties. I know you're going to talk about Batman forever, but Tim Burton certainly him and Warner Bros were going back and forth actually because they were like,
Mhm.
can we just make a very nice, a very sweet, strong Batman? And Tim Burton's like, no, I want a murder-driven, psychotic Batman, and who's going to push Gotham to its brink. I want a crazy mafia infused Joker. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
Tim Burton loves those gothic aesthetics. Truly,
No blood.
no
No
blood,
blood.
No
but
Mhm.
blood.
it's heavenly
Mhm.
Kept it
implied.
clean for the kids. You could have no bullets, no bullet wounds, really,
Truly,
honestly.
No, except for that tray,
The
Vicky
tray was
Vale's
the only thing harmed in the
right?
huh?
that tray caught a bullet. Yeah, Tim Burton likes to show us the nightmares that live behind his closed eyes,
Yes.
and we live with it. Jordan Stafford, pro Spider-Man, but how do you feel about do you have a Batman like
I used to watch
thank you.
Justice League Unlimited. It was just like that Justice League, just the cartoon series. And I think that in watching that and just seeing all their dynamics, I think at like a really young age, I had got like a they had one of those superhero encyclopedias from Barnes and Noble. And I would
Mhm.
just walk around and like I bought that one first because I got into Marvel a little bit later because DC was pretty heavy in our house because my brother likes a lot of like DC superheroes.
Yeah.
I really hadn't really focused on it until Justice League. I think a lot of characters kind of like jumped out at me. I think I was latching onto the Flash because I ran track, and that was the one that I was like latching onto a lot. But because of the
Mhm.
series, it was just like you found out later that Batman, and it comes up in that series too later on, and everybody kind of gets pissed off with him. But it's the fact that Batman knows everybody's weakness. He's done like his research,
Yeah.
and he's
Mhm.
just like, I'm
Mhm.
ready for you guys to like, if you turn on me or whatever, I've got this on
I
lock.
I do remember that episode. Yes.
And like everybody was like, "Whoa, that's kind of fucked up, Bruce. Like, what's the deal?" But it was just like, but he was like, "I'm prepared. I
Yeah.
don't have
It
powers
was
like
a
y'all,
they
so I
adapted that
gotta be
into
ready.
a movie
I
too. It was
gotta
very
be
good.
ready." Because
Yeah.
Superman really is wild out here. He's unpredictable. The man's unhinged. We be walking around here. They made him Jesus. He's crazy. He flew up into the sun, came back with new powers. I said, this is crazy."
Yeah. Ain't that something? They made Superman Jesus, and then everyone vilifies Batman like he's. Some people don't even know he's a man. They think he's like a bat creature
Truly.
with a man
Because he's
body.
about that action.
Hmm.
I'm just telling
And
you, Superman's mood could change and he'll kill everybody.
Truly.
But meanwhile, Batman's
and
just down here. It's just
and it does. I'll say this. in secret on my podcast, but I've been watching because I've been trying to get into the DC mindset and kind of get out of Marvel. So I've been watching. You don't have to go with me on this journey, but I have been watching the '90s Superman show, Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
Mhm.
Cannot recommend it to anyone who has not seen it as a small child, as I did. It's more of a nostalgic watch for me, but this man has so many kryptonites. There's so many different color kryptonites that can
Mhm.
Yeah,
change his
blue,
mood.
gold,
Red,
yeah,
like
purple, black. Yeah, they're crazy ones.
and then
Smallville was my introduction to Superman too. Well, I haven't seen
Mhm.
Superman already, but it was just like that introduction to his lore a little bit more. Because I was already kind of like, he's just a juiced up superhero to me. I don't like when they just overjuice somebody. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah.
And that Lewis and Clark Superman, he's like a big time Trumper now. He
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
don't. That's why I was like, we
he's a
don't.
Dean
We
Cain.
huge MAGA head.
Woof.
And
My
this
dude,
is your king, DC America? Truly.
okay. Well, first of all, Dean Cain is DC. So what are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
that's fair.
Oh,
He
dang.
runs
The
DC
initials.
now.
I know Dean Cain's past. He used to be on the Supergirl show, but then they fired him because he was gay.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is not about Superman. Bring it back to Batman. But yeah, Batman is just it makes sense that he would learn other people's weaknesses because they have so many weaknesses.
Mhm.
And they could fly off the handle in a minute. So this movie tries to introduce Batman to the American public. I think for me, the biggest. Ugh, there are three big things this movie does that I think are wrong. I think I'll say the first biggest one for me is the fact that no one in this movie knows the history of the Waynes. They don't know who Bruce Wayne is, and like I have a theory on why, and I think it's lazy writing. But did that bump either of you with like because like Vicky Vale and I keep wanting to call him Andrew Knox, but
Yeah.
Alexander Knox. um, he they're like, who is this guy? Like they're at the casino party and they have no idea whose house this is. Did that bother anybody? They didn't know who
Yeah,
Bruce Wayne
I
was.
kind of, just swallowed it in terms of just like, oh, like this is supposed to be like, vaudevillian 1940s, 50s influence. So I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe the news cycle, moved so fast back then where they just kind of like forgot about it. But I think in most
Maybe.
stories, people equate Bruce Wayne to his parents' death or to being a very violent alcoholic. The
Yeah.
persona of Bruce
Yes.
Wayne, like that,
Yeah.
it's either his parents died or his parents died. That's why he drinks so much,
Mhm.
just to
Mhm.
create that bachelor aesthetic. But yeah,
Yeah.
it did kind of. I kind of swallowed it as just that type of logic.
I just feel like with every other iteration of Batman I've seen, it's like the Wayne fortune is so tied into the
It just,
economy of
everybody
Gotham.
knows about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like there's the Wayne Library, the Wayne Tower. Like, how do you not know the story of the Waynes?
Yeah. It's also like just that. I mean, she looked it up, but it was just the newspaper article where it's just like Thomas Wayne specifically is like, it's just like this big headline about like just specifically him, we're not talking about his mother because she didn't matter at the time. It was just the
like
wealth of
I
Bruce Wayne.
guess stole from like a library Rolodex of like
The microfiche
scanning the
filled-
old
yeah.
newspaper.
Because also I understand a memorial. I know that his parents are they have to be buried at a cemetery, but to go
have
back
to
to
be.
the spot where they died just to leave two roses on the sidewalk for me, I was just like, I was like, sure.
Well,
Well,
because
don't tell people how to grieve, JoJo.
I'm just saying that
That's how
they
he
have a
grieved.
burial ground, I'm
That's how he
sure. He
processed
could go to
it.
the cemetery. His parents had a
He
budget
wanted
for a
to go
cemetery.
to the spot where it happened. Okay,
He does that every anniversary.
year.
every anniversary. Well, because and again, this is why I say this is lazy writing because they're trying to give you like an emotional arc to follow, but
Yeah.
it's an arc that we should already know about,
Truly.
like, and it's like this mystery, like who are his parents? What were those? And also disrespectful of Miss Vale, Vicky Vale, VV, going over there picking up the roses. But did you think, oh, he left them for me? These roses must be for me.
Yeah. He like desecrated their memory by stealing.
He truly
those
just picked them up though, yeah. But
Yeah.
I think that that's what happens often. If he does that so frequently, she's not the first person to pick up those roses.
That's true. That's true. It did look like a sketchy side of Gotham. Well, so that's the biggest thing that no one knows Bruce Wayne. The biggest thing I had an issue with, and then like the smaller issue is tied to that. Like the opening scene, you think you're watching
Mhm.
the murder of the parents, but you're actually watching just
Yeah. History
know,
repeat itself.
yeah, just a goofy tourist family
Yeah,
visiting the most dangerous city in America.
truly.
Um, sorry, this is what it is. Uh, call me Trump. Uh, please don't. And they get mugged and then they get rescued by the bats.
Well, they actually did not get rescued, Damon. I'm sorry to clarify. He
Oh,
beat the shit out of them, and then the police came,
the
and I don't think they returned his stuff.
No,
he beat
Like
the
the shit out
dad
of the
did
muggers,
get
right?
the
He beat
dad
the
was
shit out
laid
of
out into the
yeah.
transition.
Truly.
That's true because he finds them later after
Later.
the criminals are like or the perpetrators are on the
Mhm.
roof,
Yes.
and we get this gorgeous. I guess everyone's heat is running in Gotham that night because there's so much steam
Truly.
coming out everywhere.
Always.
All Batman does is stiffen his cape and glide down slowly.
Yeah, do you think he uses a starch spray on the cape?
that's
Get it?
that's that cape is very
Yeah,
starched.
he irons it after too. He has to iron it.
Well, we know who's Iron. Alfred's doing that.
Alfred.
Alfred Irons, excuse me, Alfred Irons,
Yeah.
my boy.
Bruce Wayne, he doesn't know how to iron. He doesn't even know where to sit to have a meal with a woman. He sits at this long ass
No.
table.
That table was long as hell.
Truly.
Big dummy. Adonis, since you are a Batman fan, talk to me about Michael Keaton, like this version of Batman. Is this
I think
where does
he's
this
one
rank
of
for you?
the yeah, I think he's one of the hottest Bruce Waynes. I think he has he has that charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent that you have to see in a Bruce Wayne. Something about the old school Batman, like the Tim Burton Batmans, that kind of bugged me is like there's always that one, like he has this persona, he's very gauche, very hard to reach, he's a partier, but there's
Mhm.
always that one white woman who like he's vulnerable with. Always.
Always.
He's like that one who's like, oh, I really want to tell you my secret. And I'm like, Bruce, you just met her like 2 days ago. This goes against all of your training, for starters. Like the years
Absolutely.
of training of going all across Eastern Asia to learn hidden tactics of espionage. And then as soon as one white woman comes along, you just spill your entire guts to.
Do you believe that this version of Batman also came from Ra's al Ghul?
I don't think so. I honestly
Mm.
think he like went to Canada and just did like a hot
A
yoga
Wolver-
retreat there.
Wolverine, a Wolverine retreat.
Truly.
I would agree with that. I do like Michael Keaton as an actor. I'm kind of liking older Michael Keaton more so than like this
Oh, for sure.
80s, 90s Michael Keaton. So it was interesting to go back to see his younger self. But Jordan, what do you think of this?
No, I
This
said the
Bat?
same thing. He's a very charismatic compared to like the Batman that have followed. He's a very charismatic, like that one point where he like takes Vicky and he like pushes her down and says, "You're a great gal, but you got to shut up." That kind of thing.
Mhm.
Where I was like, "Oof," but also at the same time, he still delivered it in a way where it was like still woof, but also it seemed like he was still nice about it.
I
I don't
wish
know. It was just
someone
some
would tell
level
me
to
to
which he just had
shut
the
up like
charm.
that. Truly.
Huh?
I said I wish someone would tell me to shut up.
Wait, you want someone to tell you to?
Please.
Yeah.
In a serial dark tone. Shut up. I'm like, okay, bats.
Okay. I mean, a pot for every lid, as we say. You know, uh, so we've got Batman, but I think we can all agree the Bat is not complete without the right Joker. So I say research a lot on this podcast, but this is real research, Wikipedia. But apparently, Jack Nicholson only agreed to do this movie if he would be top billed and collect a portion of the profits from the film and the merchandise sold of like Joker merchandise. And baller. Because I was looking at it today and I was like, I can't believe that Jack Nicholson is the top billed and he's not
Yeah.
even Batman.
His name
in
came
Batman.
first before Michael Keaton's.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Jack Nicholson said, "I'm gonna get mine." You know what else I read that his plastic surgeon, the tools that were used in that scene, the ones that we see,
Mhm.
were also the tool. They said that they were also the tools that were used in that original production of Little Shop of Horrors, where Jack Nicholson played the patient who was very
Oh.
like into the pain.
Oh wow, that's so cool. Yeah, and Steve Martin was the dentist. Yeah.
No, it wasn't Steve Martin. This is like the one before that.
Oh, okay. So not the Rick Moranis
No,
Little
no,
Shop
no,
of
no.
Horrors. Oh, okay.
This is the straight, like, just like B movie Little Shop of Horrors before the
I see.
musical.
Oh, I had no idea there was one before the musical. Okay, but
Yeah.
he was okay. Very interesting.
Mhm.
I love that scene with after the plastic surgery, like the mirror, because it gets referenced on The Simpsons when Lisa gets braces. They're
Mhm.
really horrific. So just the mirror. Um, I don't know. Jack Nicholson, he definitely works. I do think if I can critique his work about 30 years later, I do think it's more of like the Adam West Batman's
Mhm.
Joker, the Cesar Romero. Was it Cesar Romero?
Mhm.
All right. Fact check me if I'm wrong. So it's like just a little goofier. And I always end up in a debate with my brother who's 8 years older than me. So this is like his Batman and mine is Christian Bale's. And we always end up in this debate of like who's the better Joker, Jack Nicholson or Heath Ledger. And I always say, who's got the Oscar. But um this Joker is just so goofy to me. And I think his Achilles heel is apparently women
Yeah.
for some reason.
Mhm. Mhm.
He just wants to deface and murder them, if I can say. Sorry, hopefully I'm not
Mhm. Mhm.
disparaging this maniac. But I don't know. I don't know. I turn it over to you. Jack Nicholson is Joker. Do we Shantae, he stay?
I think he should go away. I feel like he, personally, I do agree with everything you just said. I think Nicholson has played some iconic, crazy roles with The
Mhm.
Shining, with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is
Mhm.
Yeah.
a phenomenal movie. And it's
Yeah.
just something about this Joker that just felt he was goofy, but also at the same time, he was just so weirdly tame for me in terms of the Joker. And I
Hmm.
feel like with the Adam West Romero's characterization of the Joker, it was like he was crazy, but again, he was also like about that action,
Mhm.
like he was
Yeah.
like he was nonstop crazy, like he was
Mhm.
on 10 all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel
Yeah.
like Jack Jack tried to find moments of being 10, but then he would go to like a 5 or a 6. It's like now this just feels lazy.
Mhm.
This isn't the Joker that I know and love, truly.
Yeah. And I mean, his origin story is very interesting in this that he was
Yeah.
like this gangster who gets betrayed by both the cops and his his mob boss and falls into a vat of toxic waste. What are you gonna do? Is it toxic waste? What is this thing? What is this goop? The
Some type
slime?
of goo.
That's it. Yeah.
Ivan ooze, green goo. Yeah.
Ivan Ooze.
They use the same compound, truly.
He fell into the font of a Goosebump book, uh, turned into the Joker, and he's seeking revenge. But I don't know. This movie, the number of blonde women in this, it's hard for me. Like, there's that. It just is such like an old man's like revenge plan of like, yeah, I'll kill my boss and then I'll steal his girlfriend
And then drive her crazy.
yeah, and make her wear this Phantom of the Opera mask. Uh,
Truly.
Wasn't the initial plan like Grissom was setting him up so that he could take his girl, right?
was he?
He
Or
was trying to sleep
wait,
with it was something along the, it felt like it was something along the lines of like, because eventually she was with the boss. And then he was
yeah,
like that
yeah,
reveal to her, and she
mhm,
was like, oh shit. Like, I don't
yeah.
know.
And then for some reason he like convinced her like
You with me now,
you're
and
with me now. Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck up your face, like that kind of thing,
Hmm.
and make you wear this porcelain mask.
Odd,
It
odd.
was wild. But I felt like he was just very like compared. I know that there's supposed to be like a juxtaposition, but like for this movie, I felt like sometimes he was a little too. It was a lot of camp, but he was like a little too campy for Keaton's
Hmm.
Batman in a way. I don't know. It just felt like they were two different movies, somewhat sometimes.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. I would not go to Jack Nicholson for camp, and
At all.
never would have thought him. And I don't think he knows what camp is. So it was like I think the most I was like in agreement with this movie's Joker, I guess, was the art scene, but maybe that was
Mhm.
just Prince playing in the background, but just like the paint
Party
smearing
man.
party man, little floppy chef's hat, incredible.
I did like the TV stuff they did too, like when they were having like the press conference outside of the courthouse.
Mhm.
Whether yeah, but he was like he popped up on the he was on a separate TV screen, but it was like they were looking at him, And
Yeah,
then when
yeah.
he was tired of them, he just kind of swiped them away. It had that very
That
like
was good.
cartoony element to it, which I
Period.
thought was really fun.
Mhm.
He had it was a lot of elements of it where it was like, I thought that the how they like blended that cartoon world into it was like that, like
Yeah.
with the parade and stuff, like the
Mhm.
camp of the balloon. Via, we'll get there, but it's just like that visualization. Like there were certain elements of him, or like at least that version of the Joker that was very like fun to see in comparison to the cartoon. Also,
Yeah.
his outfits were crazy. Loved them though. They were really.
Yeah.
He had some fits. I don't know what it was. It's a
Fits were
little.
fitting.
I can see it.
The fits were fitting. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I compared to like Mark Hamill's Joker,
Mhm.
Batman the animated series, I think
Yeah.
the Joker has to have a layer of
Mhm.
like unnecessary camp.
Mhm.
Just like of just like a just an injection of absurdity that kind of like adds to the sinisterness. I think that was one of the cool things about Heath Ledger's Jokers is like it's kind of like an improv scene where we just like we start with the Joker. We don't get a
Mhm.
backstory. We don't know who he is.
Mhm.
Christian Bale's Batman doesn't have time to figure out his origin story because the Joker is keeping him
He's
on his
going.
toes, honey. There's no time to do a 23andMe. Like who is this guy? We don't care. We have to catch him as soon as possible because he's a menace.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think this is that I think it's just so crazy Tim Burton didn't like inject more of that sinister campiness that
Mhm.
maybe kind of works better with an animated sense because Mark Hamill's Joker was hilarious, but he also scared me as a kid,
Mhm.
like from the animated series, because I'm like, oh, this guy is crazy.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And
I
like
mean,
Heath
yeah.
Ledger's Joker was like kind of it was the same. He was still crazy, but he was just kind of like missing that pessimistic joy that the
Mhm.
Joker kind of like clings on to. Like I enjoy life because it sucks, and I'm going to show everyone how much it sucks by
Mhm.
being as happy as possible. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
it just seemed lazy to me with Jack
Mhm.
Nicholson's Joker is all.
I mean, hey, you're not going to see me disagree if you use the word Jack Nicholson and lazy in the same sentence. Luckiest man in Hollywood. Uh, but yeah, talking about the animated series, I feel like we should talk about that just because like that's my foundational Batman. But
Mhm.
I'm realizing that so much of it was because that show premiered in 1992, and spreading the good word that Harley Quinn comes from the animated series, not from the
Yes,
comic
that's true.
books.
Mhm.
And so much of that animated series is based on these first two Batman movies. So like I can't. So it's almost like I do want to knock Jack Nicholson, but I think it clearly was an inspiration for Mark Hamill's Joker,
Yeah.
you know. But I think Mark Hamill took it and ran with it. And speaking of taking it and running with it, we're gonna run away with a break. Pocket 616 is gonna take a break. Jordan loved my transition. And so we'll be back and we're gonna talk about all things Vicky Vale. I have a lot to say about this woman. And we'll also talk about, the plot and the schemes of the Joker and this movie, Batman. So we'll be right back to talk more about Batman 1989. So keep it right here.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back. That's my Batman voice.
Pretty good.
Thank you. I have a podcast. Uh, Jordan Stafford. As you know, producer Michael does research on all my guests, and we found you actually worked alongside Vicky Vale when she did her photojournalist expedition at Corto Maltese.
Yes.
Can you talk to us? What was it like working with her side by side on a photojournalist story?
Well, initially we were just going trying to figure out about like Batman in general. We wanted to know, but Vicky always would just kind of disappear and she would just go
Hmm.
about her own way. And every time she came back, she had like a new like hickey or something different on her. I don't know what it was, but
A hickey on Vicky?
yeah, hickey on Vicky. She always just came back, different hickey, and she always seemed a little more frazzled. I don't know. She started asking a little more questions about, I don't know, me and Me and dude, I didn't really like I didn't know him well because he really wasn't like around that much. He kind of just
Mhm.
came around every now and then just for like a little more development. Vicky only really used him for like research and stuff like that, really. But
Mhm.
because it seemed like it was going to be his story somewhat too, but I don't know. He just kind of disappeared a little bit. But
Are you referring to the journalist Alexander Knox,
oh,
her
that's what his
president?
name is?
Yeah.
I never really got to work with him because I was only with Vicky most of the time.
Right.
And all I really heard with Vicky was just sex sounds. Sex sounds and occasionally what sounded like a man hanging upside down.
Girl. Girl. How my girl Vicky, how hey, respect the game. I am not mad at sleeping with a man on the first date. Honestly, why not? What I can't support is waking up in the middle of the night, seeing your dude flipped over, hanging like a bat, and not running. What
But
does
the
that
thing
do?
was, in that moment, she pieced it together. In that moment, she pieced it together. I feel like that was the moment where she knew. She was like, "Oh my God, he's a bat." She didn't have to say it. I just knew that's what she meant. She
You
when
douche.
because also it's such a random scene. It's also random for him to get up, post that, and
But
then
I
just
can't.
be over there. And it's such a squeaky little.
It's so
It woke
loud.
her up.
The
He wanted
squeaks.
her to see that.
He sounded like a bat because the squeaks sounded like little bat noise.
Yeah, he wanted her to find him.
Adonis, do you know anything about this hanging upside down equipment? Does it do something for your body? Like, what does it do? Does it help you sleep? Why did
It
she buy
makes
that?
me nauseous, so I
Mhm.
wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, I would not recommend that at all, truly.
Yeah, I could believe it. Vicky Vale, a photojournalist, which is like, is that even a job? I think she's just a freelance photographer. Um, no, I don't know. She's great. She looks great, but that's what I mean. The hair is
Mhm.
great. Love the curls or the little crinkles. I had a weird moment where I looked up so the actress is Kim Basinger. Um, Same age as my mom, so that was weird to watch with that in mind of like, oh, this is
Wait a
my mom
minute.
was this age.
Is
My,
my
my mom
mom
could
Vicky Vale?
could my mom run around with Batman? Is Batman my dad? I don't know. I had a whole thing. I understand why she's here. She's here to be the audience surrogate, to ask the questions that we can't ask
Mhm.
because, if you don't know who Batman is. But boy, oh boy, is she just kind of a prop.
Yeah.
And not really much more. She's like the Joker just wants her so Batman can like chase after her in the giant tower to save her life. And I mean, she faints. At one point she faints.
A little
Like this
hand
is
out the box. That was
Truly.
yeah.
another thing where I was just like, if the Joker brought me anything, I'm not opening it. She opened that box. I was like, I thought, I forgot that it was just gonna be like a little pop-up thing, but I was
Mhm.
like, what if that was like that smoke or that gas?
Right. He's
You
he's
know,
waging chemical warfare.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not opening this box. I'm taking this box out to the hallway.
With a broom.
There is something too in like both the Joker and Batman having the same taste in woman, truly. Like as soon as the Joker saw
What?
Vicky Vale in the newspaper, he was like, "Auga, I want that."
And put her on his little collage.
Truly, he added her, like cut her face out. I'm like, what?
Mhm.
Not to
Perfectly too.
just
He did
again, like
not
she is
play.
gorgeous, but I'm like, really?
Oh
The
He
yeah.
cut her
same
out
girl?
perfectly. He said,
Like
Oh,
that
I'm not
Usher
missing
song, same girl.
Usher. Same girl.
out.
And of course, you cut her out perfectly. I don't doubt that was the first time he's done that, Jordan. I
Truly.
think he's cut out women's heads in
He
magazines
killed
several
it. He did
times.
not just from this like the light shining through, you could see that he didn't fuck her up at all.
At all.
Mhm.
So good. He's crafty. He's a crafty villain.
Yeah.
That was a nice scene too from the top where you see like all the cutout pictures and it's stuff all over the floor and it's like a little top angle view of just the Joker at that table. I
Mhm.
wanted to draw that because it looks like it's a very fun like it's a nice visual.
Yeah. I mean, the visuals of this movie are fantastic.
Mhm.
Yes.
I mean, I do enjoy the gothicness of Gotham. My favorite shot was the shot of the Batmobile driving down the the road full of leaves, and it's like blowing the leaves out, and
Mhm.
it's like I don't know.
I read somewhere that Tim Burton, when they showed him the Batmobile, he was like, "It's cool, but where's the door?" and then they added that last minute slide up just because there wasn't a door, which was pretty
It's so
cool.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess he could have. I guess he could have went under the hood if he wanted to. I'm like,
Yeah, he just could crawl.
Yeah, like get into it like a submarine.
Truly.
Just put it around you. But yeah, love seeing the Batmobile. Love seeing Gotham. Living in LA and this 102 day that we're going through right now. We don't have a fall. That's one thing we don't have, and snow. But maybe miss fall. So I was glad to see that. Talk to me, Adonis Holmes. Talk to me about these gags by the Joker, because producer Michael did research on you, and we found out that you've actually you had a run as the Joker in Chicago for a short time, kind of pulling gags on people. What was it? What was that like? Yeah.
Yeah, I was the Chicago Joker for a stint. But mine it's mostly maiming, nothing, too mortal. Just like removing some manhole covers, stealing some catalytic converters, tying shoelaces together.
Yeah.
Like keep walking in and out of like Target's automatic doors just to break them down. Very simple gags. Nothing to the Joker's effect though. Nothing. I don't think I have the money or capital to pull off what the Joker pulled off though. That would be a dream. To invest in some true gags.
That's a great point. Where does money come from?
I'm assuming Grissom, but
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that he got that money
from the
Grissom.
mob boss. But
yeah,
it's expensive though. First, you have to hack into the television network satellite so you can freaking get, and then the editing of pushing the freaking press conference to the side, like that's expensive for the 80s. That's
he crushed that though. He ate that up.
Yeah,
and his editor is crazy.
Yeah,
and he got a boombox. He got a specific. One of his henchmen was specifically just for a boombox.
For boombox.
He didn't fight. He just carried that boombox, and he was always ready with that Prince song.
Oh. The Joker's like, I'm only going if we play a Prince song. Yeah. I only commit. Prince is my intro music.
He's like, I got it. And can you get us a float?
Really?
Also,
what's the boombox guy's name from Do the Right Thing? What's his name? He passed a few years ago. Damn, I can't think of his name. I'm like, where was he at? I feel like Tim Burton should have hired him if he already had the boombox man.
Also,
I have a strong feeling Tim Burton has not seen that movie.
Fair.
Also, it's kind of wild. I forgot that Harvey Dent was played by Billy D. Williams because they end up.
Thank you.
They end up later on, isn't it just Robert De Niro? Who is that?
No, it's Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, it's just funny to see his like origin, like the start, and then later on it's just like
Gotham just saps the melanin from him.
Yeah, he now has a white and purple face.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do an impression of Billy D. Williams. Can someone cue me up? This is my impression of Billy D. Williams in this Batman movie. Can you ask me a question as if I'm Harvey Dent, and I'll answer it as Billy
Harvey,
D. Williams.
what are you going to do about crime in Gotham?
Oh, ain't no crime in Gotham, as far as I can tell. Now, let's go to this casino. They hired Billy D. to be Billy D.
Truly.
They did. Because they did. And he Billy D'd it up, too.
He did. Smooth operator, honey.
We're doing what we can. And what we can do is good.
The Batman. There's enough monsters in Gotham already.
A laugh.
But it's just funny to me. I forgot that he was even in there. Because his character got totally like blipped. And maybe that's them being like, you know what, on second thought, maybe Billy wasn't the right choice.
Maybe do you think there's like some scenes of Billy D. Williams, Harvey Dent on the cutting room?
I just want to know what the process of getting Billy D in there was for, and then like what movie or what something showed them that he could potentially be Two-Face if they were going to keep him.
Truly.
Yeah. I mean,
not to discount.
Not to diss him. Billy D, I love you.
He could have ate up Two-Face, but I'm like, I don't think Tim Burton was ever. Well, I guess what Batman Forever wasn't Tim Burton. I think it was Joel Schumacher at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think at
Mhm.
that point they kind of like they went a
Different
big
direction.
of the Tim Burton era. But I'm like, Billy, we could at least did a testing for Billy D.
I kind of low key think that
Yeah.
Billy D didn't want to play Two-Face because he would not want his face to be disfigured. Like he doesn't want that visual of himself.
Right.
He's like, you know, honestly, I want to play Harvey Dent when he looks good,
Good.
but I don't want to play Harvey Dent when he's Two-Face.
I want the beautiful Harvey Dent. Or he plays Harvey Dent in this movie, then goes to a comic book shop. It's like, let me look up this Harvey Dent.
Oh,
Two-Face. Oh, no.
Hey.
not
There's
for
only-
me.
Only one Billy D face. Bad. But thank you for bringing up, because much like anyone who's seen this movie, I was gonna forget to talk about Billy D. So thank you. Man. So I'll call it out. In case people are listening and they haven't figured out, we're three black men, black people, talking about Batman. And how do we feel about the use of whiteface in this movie? Because after the Joker falls into the vat, he
Mhm.
starts to go out in public with what I would just call whiteface. And
Which that's not the Joker. The Joker doesn't do that.
Mm-mm.
no.
What
He
are
doesn't
we
care.
doing? He doesn't care. Even if he does a disguise, he still has his like his white bleached clown face. I'm like, why are we
Clown face.
hiding who the Joker is?
I didn't understand why he just kept doing that too. Because I'm like, what are you like? There's no
And this-
reason to hide. Your face is
Yeah.
already disfigured, so it's just
And
like,
then-
just let it be.
Right. He's like, his cheeks are all the way the fuck to his
Truly.
ears.
Yeah, the Joker is a genius, but he has no tact. There's no tact with the Joker. I think that's why he's the perfect foil for Batman, who's like so tactical and strategic.
Mhm.
The Joker is like very sophisticated, but he's like not a surgeon. He's a fucking
No.
he's a butcher. He's like,
It's
"No,
just
I
the
don't
taking the
care
time to
about-
put on the makeup that's
Yeah.
crazy.
We're just
Yeah.
gonna blow up this city block. I don't care where you place the bombs. Just place them somewhere. Get out of my face. What are we
Yeah.
doing?
And it's just, Joker. I'm talking to the Joker right now. So excuse me. Joker, you can't put on makeup to meet girls you like, because at some point the makeup's gotta come off.
It has
And I
to.
think you're gonna want to be with somebody who knows your real face, not your play face. And I said Playface, not Clayface. Clayface is another Batman villain.
Mhm.
But we should do a movie with Clayface. There, I said it. Shapeshifter? Nobody? Okay.
No.
That would be down.
At this point, this is the final call. Is there anything not been discussed about Batman 1989 that you want to say? Anything that you want to get out there? I'm going to talk about that church, but I want to give you guys your own time.
I think
We can talk
overall-
about the church. We can talk about the church, the bell tower.
The Bell Tower.
Batman getting his shit handed to him by a brother.
Brother
up there.
man.
I'm gonna call
Brother
him.
man. Putting
I'm gonna call him
first.
Secret Blade.
Secret Blade.
Really. I feel like that's the same black dude who tried to fight Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
In Friday, what was that? Friday the 13th, the second or the third movie? Like he was like trying to do.
Okay.
He had him on the ropes, but then Jason came back and like, actually, I'm sorry, sir, and just threw him off of the roof.
I feel like when that movie played at like a black movie theater, I feel like the audience would be cheering for that man and not Batman.
Yeah,
Truly.
he was
It's like-
beating Batman's ass up there, yo.
Work.
Everybody else tried and fell through the floor, got kicked out a window, but that dude was in it. He was like, "Nah, I'm the final boss," and that because truly he was though, because Joker
Yeah.
really didn't slap like anything. He ain't do nothing, which is also
Not
another
fighting.
disappointing thing. There was nothing.
That man was just like, "You are not a bat. I'm killing the man."
Wait, no damn bat.
Wait a minute. That's not a bat. That's a man. I love, even though I think earlier I was discrediting the generic trope of woman captured by a bad guy, but I love a classic tower sequence. I love a staircase. Everybody knows that about me. So I love the church. Wait, settle something for me. When Batman first enters the church, and all those pews fall over. Did he knock that over, or did he just bump into those pews?
He knocked it over because I feel like he was
Absolutely.
stumbling from the accident still. Like when his plane came
Oh,
down, when the jet came down, I feel like
mhm.
he still got messed up a little bit, and that was him walking, and he bumped into it because he was stumbling. But it was also kind of crazy that those pews were just straight up like dominoes. And it
Yeah.
was so the Joker's just like, oh shit, he's in the building. Okay, let's go faster. Did he sedate Vicky or something? Because she wasn't given
This
no
was
kind of
like
like battle. She
training.
was just
Yeah.
paper in the wind.
Just
Like she was,
ragdoll, just ragdoll Vicky.
Yeah.
but
Um,
yeah. And then also when the bell drops to the bottom, and then Commissioner and them are just like, oh, well, that's all we could do.
we
He
can't get
pushes it like
in.
a couple times. That's all we've got. Let's go outside.
Let's have old ass Commissioner Gordon try to get in. If he can't do it, no one can.
Right.
Uh, oh, also, one more thing I want to talk about. We skipped over the fucking Alfred just lets Vicky into the Batcave, like,
Right.
and he just kind of gives like
Alfred,
side
what
eye
are
to
you
Bruce Wayne, like, deal with it.
doing?
I'll say this, and I'll say this for the next few Batman movies. This is my least favorite Alfred, least favorite one.
That's fair. I think you're gonna be stuck with him for a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna be
yeah.
we're riding with him, not yeah, truly.
I
Because
think he's
they
in all
keep
four.
hiring him back.
Hmm.
He had the energy of it is there. I think that it's just the way that they like present him somewhat because he really did start to like Vicky, and that was the problem. Like I feel like he was very much like that parent that was at this point that was just like, you need someone nice. Here, she's a good girl. Like I don't know, it's kind of
Yeah.
and then
He
yeah,
was,
but it's just like breaking the illusion of the fact that this is supposed to be a secret location. And it was also
Truly.
mhm.
going back to like the Bruce in general, where Bruce is just like having this rom-com moment of being like, I'm not just Smiley, I'm Hannah. And he's like getting ready to tell the friends and everything. And then
I'm
every
so
time he
sorry. No,
tries
no,
to, it's like a little gag
no,
moment of
no,
a noise.
Jordan. You can't just say Miley and Hannah. What do you mean by that? Say their
Yeah.
last names.
Bruce Wayne was he the best of both worlds. He was not
Thank you.
only just a simple a
Yeah.
simple girl going to school, but he was also a pop sensation
Truly.
known by many. And but he was trying to keep these worlds separate with a
Yeah.
blonde wig.
He was not ready to show Vicky the other side of me. Truly.
Yeah. But it was just
I
like every time the doorbell rang, that felt like a very rom-com moment. He was like, I'm ding dong. And then
mhm.
she had to go answer the door. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think my favorite. Oh, I'm sorry, Damien. I was just going to add
go
with
for it.
Alfred. Just like I think the reason why was that Michael Caine worked so well.
mhm,
Caine worked so
Mhm.
well is because it was heavily implied, just like the comics, that Alfred was also about that action
mhm.
when he was Bruce's age. Like Alfred
Yeah.
got into some mess, honey. He was in MI16. He was
Mhm.
in MI6, MI7. He like worked for British intelligence. He was like working with the American military. Like Alfred, like he stays strapped too.
Mhm.
He's the
Yeah.
only one who can pull out a Glock. And Bruce would be like, okay, that's cool. Alfred can pull that out. Like he was actually helpful. And it seemed like this Alfred was it really leaned into like the nanny aspect of Alfred,
Mhm.
which the comics
Mhm.
kind of drifted away from a long time ago. It's like,
Because
no,
he's been
Alfred is
raising him.
actually an operative too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's with the shits as well.
Didn't they
Yeah.
have a Pennyworth movie? Was that
It
something
was
or
a
a
show.
series?
Show. Yeah. The Halo series. And I think he has his own comic book series. And I don't know. I think this is accurate, but I recently looked up how they're drawing Alfred now, and he can get it. It's good.
Wasn't there like
They
a
draw him
I
well. He's
might
got.
I know there's like a version where there's a comic where like in an alternate universe, Thomas is the one that survives or something like that and becomes
Flashpoint
Batman, you know?
Flashpoint, yeah. And the
that they
mom becomes the Joker.
destroyed.
And
And they
isn't there one
ranked
where
89 in
Alfred
that movie. Okay, we won't talk about it. Thank you. We won't touch on it.
We're not here to talk about the Flash. We're here to talk
I'm
about
sorry, I'm
Batman.
That's
just
true.
The only thing not Batman related we're here to talk about is Fuck Mary Kill.
Yeah.
And it is time for our final segment of the podcast episode, the Fuck Mary Kill. We will be choosing between three characters from Batman 1989 to Fuck Mary and or Kill. On the docket today, we've got Batman, the Joker, and Miss Vicky Vale. I will go first to give my guests time to think and get their answers in
Okay.
order. Let's see. I think I'm gonna kill the Joker. I can't do it. I'm already people not use air quotes. I'm a comedian, so I have enough jokes in my life. I don't need I don't need to date a Joker. I don't know what y'all are doing in your dating lives, but like I can't date a comedian. I just can't do it. Can you imagine dating someone who's doing what you're doing and the crazy shit we do? My God. I mean, go with God, be blessed. I've seen people make it work, but damn, not for me. I just can't date a comedian. No, no, no. And a crazy one who's killing people, get out of here. And he's eventually gonna turn to Joaquin Phoenix. No. Um, for those reasons, I will do what the Dark Knight could not. Well, actually, actually this Batman did kill the Joker, which is crazy that this movie ends with the Joker dying because that's like always the question every other time we do this. But yeah, Michael Keaton got it done. More on him later. I will be fucking Vicky Vale. Not for any particular reason, just because that's how the cards shook out. But hey, maybe I'll get some nice headshots out of the deal, you know? I'm gonna marry Bruce Wayne, and I have a feeling I'm gonna marry Bruce Wayne a lot when I these Batman movies. I think Keaton's great. Love his big ass house, and it's kind of funny, but not a comedian. I think
Dang.
that's an important distinction. Uh, let's go to Jordan Stafford, our most senior guest. Please show us how this is done.
I'm gonna go on a different. I'm gonna switch the order just because I feel like we have it was a similar one. I wrote it down, but I was gonna marry Batman because I just feel like generally he would just from what I gathered he knows where I'm at most of the time, and he'll come for
Yeah.
me if I'm in trouble. Like he'll be there, and then also just a very charming dude, good looking guy. Like I feel like we can have a good time. Very nice house. He can grab. He can get us things. He could take care of us. Like we could be taken care of. Okay. I would also fuck Vicky because I feel like she would be like she'd just be like a good I don't know. I don't have anything really deep there, but that's why I'm gonna put her there.
I know.
Because I would kill the Joker because while I do enjoy his sense of fashion, he is unhinged and unpredictable. And the
Bit.
thing is like we can't deal with the unpredictability, like, and also like just from seeing what he did with past partners or what he was planning on doing with a current situation, I'm just like, I don't know if that's something that I want to happen to me. So I'm like, if I have to be wise, I'm gonna kill him. I have to kill him, but I am gonna grab those clothes
And you
and I'll
can.
coordinate them
Absolutely.
however I want. Cause like I didn't necessarily like all the patterns, but like there were certain pieces. I don't really need the penguin tail jacket. Don't need that. But the other stuff I could like manage. I could take care of. That's good.
Nice. Nice. I love it. And I love this as a new rule. Like if you kill someone, you get their stuff.
You just take their stuff.
You can actually do that. Adonis Holmes. Bring us Holmes with your picks.
I'm sorry I'm not original, but I'm going to fuck Vicky Vale, kill the Joker, and then marry Batman. Yeah, it's with the Joker, specifically this Joker, I wasn't like enthralled and like I get tired of games and magic tricks quickly. I'm like, okay, can we just chill now? Do you have to bring out the little chattering teeth this go around,
The
love? Let's
teeth.
just
No.
do we have to pull that out right now? And yeah, of course, Mary Batman, because Mike Keaton was hot in this movie, in my opinion. I think he was very gorgeous. And he's like never home. So it's just gonna be me in the house, yeah, cooling and booling with Alfred. So that's an easy setup for me.
I love when everyone agrees with me because that's what it felt like. Thank you so much, both of you. Batman 1989, a fine film. Give it a watch if you've never seen it. I don't know why you're listening to this podcast, but you know, if you've never seen it, give it a watch. That's the show. Thank you both so much for being on the podcast. Adonis Holmes, social media shows. What do you have coming up? I hear there's something happening on the Second City stage.
Yes, there's a little something happening on the Second City stage. Devil in the Detour every Tuesday through Sunday. Check us out at secondcity.com. I'm also directing a show with some pals titled Pending. with my indie team, The Mermaid. So if you're in Chicago, please check us out towards the end of October. Because some pals are going to be doing some silly, stupid stuff. There may be a Joker scene in it. Maybe. We'll see.
I love a cross promotion. Know the brand. Thank you, Adonis. Jordan Stafford, same question, same show.
Social media, dude with the abolitionist part on Instagram. And you could also see me on the Second City main stage currently in Devil in the Detours with Adonis, Tuesday through Sunday at the Second City.
Oh, y'all still gonna be doing that show in December?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably at some extra shows too.
Right.
Oh,
That's our
okay.
curse.
Maybe send me a cop. I'll be in Chicago for the holidays. Hell yes. This is Podcast 616. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Podcast 616P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcast, our podcast network that lets me talk about Batman on a Marvel podcast. What world is this? You can also follow me, Damon, on Instagram at Black Chandler. Black is spelled BLK, Chandler as in Chandler Bing. I'm living with it. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, what letter grade would you give this podcast that we just did?
I loved it. I'm gonna give you guys another solid 8.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Adonis. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Michael Keaton, the other Michael in the room. We'll be back next week to talk about Batman Returns, a Christmas movie. Can you believe it? In September. Who would have thought? So join us for that, and we'll be covering Batman to get you through this fall and Halloween season we are in. So until that time, please remember that with great power, there's also a little thing that we like to call responsibility.